morning to you, our viewers, from everywhere you are. Thank you once again for coming back to Chai TV, your go-to channel for details, information, lessons, and ideas, including information that revolve around tea farming, tea growing, tea selling, everything about tea. And today I would love to welcome you to our amazing discussion. This is the Agri Finance, and I'm really excited to have you around here. And today we are going to discuss about an hour of finance with tea growers and tea farmers, tea people who are doing their business. Now, you see, if you want to grow what you're doing and if you want to build something sustainable as a farmer, as a person, one thing is really critical. And this reminds me of what we were talking about the previous session. And we said that the most critical thing outside of skill, outside of the weather conditions, outside of what the soil is understanding the business around your farm, is understanding this is what goes into making money for me, this is what goes into making life sustainable, not only for you as a farmer, but also for your children, but also for the people around you, the society that truly believes in the potential of our agricultural sector. Hope for the very children who go to school every day just to grow from the doing in our culture. For each and everyone who looks at you as me and to the global growth when it comes to tea consumption and tea business, to the global growth when it comes to tea consumption, and go through step-by-step understanding of what it means to understand tea business, how you can really milk wealth out of the tea that you're growing, and how to understand you as a farmer, someone doing whether large scale or small scale, how do you make that sustainable for you, and how do you make that as something that is reliable, not only even for you, but also for us as the people do exactly what you know best. And before we start our session, I want to start by saying to every farmer, especially in the tea sector, that we are really grateful that you do what you do, because it's because of the very efforts that you make each and every day, the days that you go to the farm, whereby you're not going to harvest and you're not going to make money, you're just good, the soil is intact. You're going to ensure that there are no weeds eating and feeding on the nutrients that are intact. You're going to ensure that there are no weeds eating and feeding on the nutrients that are supposed to be taken by the very tea that you're supposed to harvest and go and sell it in the market. This is an appreciation to each and every one of you for your dedication, for those nights that you sit down thinking of how do I improve on tea, how do I improve on the production that I'm making. That is really revolutionary, and I would want you to know from the deepest part of my heart that we see you as our heroes, and we see you as the very people who drive. I want to take this chance to welcome you. This is Chai TV, and before we start, I would want to encourage you, if you have a chance to welcome you. This is Chai TV, and before we start, I would want to encourage you, if you have any questions, if you have any comments to make, if you have ideas and you're watching this show and there are things that you would want our viewers to learn, things you would want us to communicate to the viewers, including yourself, and things that this show, and there are things that you would want our viewers to learn, things you would want us, I take this opportunity to welcome you once again to the Agri Finance. Now, as we start, previously, opportunity to welcome you once again to as the money, the cash flow, or the money in the farm, or the money in the business that you're doing. And this is the corner whereby we discuss money, the cash flow, or the money in the farm, or the money in the business that you're doing. And this is the corner whereby we discuss the insights on how do you make more money in the tea sector. How are you going to make more money when it comes to tea growing? We have seen the government doing a lot of revolutionary things, from cooperatives, circles. Now people are coming together to build even chamas, to build even groups that are helping each other in matters inputs, in matters farming, in matters training every farmer outside there. And this has been the very revolutionary thing to building the business around tea. My name is Benson Numa. Welcome. Now, As we start our discussion today, we are going to break this discussion into three major ideas, or three major kind of sections that are going to help you decipher the whole understanding when it comes to tea farming. And in these sections, we are going to discuss different things, from the production of high quality tea to the place whereby you think how do you market and brand yourself, to the place whereby you think about the value addition in your business. And finally, we will be discussing the profits in the business. And I am hoping that this is going to be really helpful to you. Once again, I repeat, if you have any comments, if you have anything to say concerning tea and you would want our people to learn from you, please feel free to share. Now, before I start, I would want to lay a mention that on October, we will be having the International Tea Expo. It will be right in Meru County, and we and the Matters Tea. So I'd want to take this chance, even as we talk about Matters Tea, because that is also going to be among the biggest thing that we will be having during that expo, talking about the business that's around. So I'd want to take this chance, even as we talk about Matters Tea, because that is also going to be how do you find the market, how do you export, how do you get partners outside of where you are to build a sustainable business culture for your tea growing. How do you export? How do you get partners outside of where you are to build a sustainable business culture for your tea growing or tea brokerage, whatever it is that you do. This event is aimed at every grower or the farmers, at every broker, people who sell it, the factories that go and who trade tea at a large scale and a small scale. So I take this opportunity to welcome you prior and to welcome you in advance. Go on our platforms, check out that one. You will see a lot of details concerning the tea expo that will be in Meru County. Right, now let's talk about value addition when it comes to tea. And this is something that I think I have redounded on it again and again and again, and this is the reason. The reason why I'm keeping on redounding on this is because the only way for you as a farmer to build more money, to build wealth when it comes to tea business, is for you to understand, how do I add value? How do I ensure that there is value in what I do? Na hii weka mkulima, hii si about ati utalipisha pesa mingi. It's not about taking that leaf, unasema sasa kutoka leo tutakataa kuuza this amount per kg, to use this amount. No. What I'm talking about is something else. And what I'm talking about is going on and going forward, taking every effort of creativity, every ounce of innovation in you to ensure that you come up with new ideas and new strategies on how you're going to build value for your tea. Recently, we were having a discussion and an interview. You can go and check it out as well on our platform with Mr. Ronald, all right? And we were discussing Matters Tea, and I remember he's an expert in tea. He's been there since he was a child until now he's old, and he's also in the tea board in Uganda. So as we were discussing Matters Tea and what has been happening and revolving around tea, we really delved deep into this idea of tea farming, because tea farming is really crucial for us, is number 3 among the largest export products that we are having in commodities. We are among the leading countries who are doing this. So tea is really critical for us. Tea is a really, really important subject for every farmer in Kenya. But now, if you come to think about it, hauwezi tu kakua unaamka asubuhi and the only thing that you do, unaenda, we kazi yako ni kuenda kwa shamba, unaambia watu wavune, wapeleke tea center, ikitoka tea center we ulipwe pesa yako, and that is it. As a farmer or as a group of farmers, we need to start coming up with initiatives that will help us understand more about how can we create more value. Ni aje tutaongeza value kwa chai yetu? Can it be through processing, mnaikausha, mnaiprocess? Can it be that muta come up na a new idea? And you see, the thing about value is even sometimes not even more about it costing you more, because when we talk about value, most farmers think now I have to start an industry or a factory to be processing this tea, and they're thinking it's going to cost me quite a lot, buying the machines, ensuring that everything is intact, hiring people to do that, to operate the machine and stuff. And usually most people tend to think, or they tend to believe, that I must invest a lot of money for me to create value. Now, that is not usually the case. If you come to think about exactly what goes into value addition, mostly is about the stories that we tell. Well, I don't know you guys whether you remember the idea of okra water. All right, you remember there's this time okra water was trending, and our sisters were really getting carried away by the entire discussion that was going around okra water. It's going to help you do this, it's going to help you do that, oh, I'm going to do that. You see, there was a lot of stories going on around okra water, to a point that it had started now kind of attracting value to itself. All right, let's leave that aside. Think about the rise of what we call mocha. All right, and in Japan, to be specific, there's this time that there have been a lot of increment when it comes to consumption of this tea, and it's just a green tea, and there was a lot of stories which could be true, that there are a lot of health benefits to that kind of green tea. All right, but if you think really well and you take a time to pause as a farmer, you realize that basically what drives value for communities and for people is the stories that go around what they discuss. It is the stories that are around them. That is what kind of drives the value that people have all together. So that time in Japan ulikuwa unasikia sijui na kusaidia ita cure disease flani, it helps with respiratory I don't know diseases, it helps with to clear your gut, it helps to do a lot, and people were really increasingly starting to consume the tea to a point yenye mpaka sasa ilikuwa imeanza kuwa iko out of supply because the demand is so high. You remember in business tunasemanga the more demand iko juu, the more supply sometimes inaendanga inashuka, and the reason is because if I have an x amount of something, and then kuna watu x wenye wanaitaka, and then I've stricken a balance, if at one given point iende hivyo ikue that now wale watu si x tena wamekuwa z, it simply means that supply itasim ni kama iko chini. So there have been that increasing demand to a point that it was almost inakani kama inaenda kwa shortage, and there were discussions as well discussing about how do we encourage production of this tea more, how do we encourage consumption of this tea more, so that kutakuwa na nini, and that is the very thing that I feel kama wa Kenya tunafaa tufanye. And it's the idea ya kupeana story yetu. You see, Kenyans, we are the makers of headlines when it comes to culture, when it comes to traditions, when it comes to the very things that make people think Africa. All right? So, and one of the things that I would love to encourage our people, the same way that we have done quite a good job telling the story about our wildlife, telling the story concerning our tourism sector, telling the story about everything going on, politics, Gen Z. There have been quite a lot of things going on, and we can all agree to disagree that usually value and attention is driven by the stories, the very stories that people tell around. And nowadays tuko na social media. Sasa tu nikiingia tu hivi social media naona this thing is happening. And even Kenyans resadi tukakama up na a way ya kupeana story yetu. Stories can be value addition, communication, message, the things that you're telling people out there about our tea. And this is the laziness that our people, not maybe laziness, maybe it's lack of knowledge, maybe some do not understand, but these are the kind of things that I feel deeply, they're the things that could drive the value of our tea and drive the demand that we are having, not even internationally, but also locally. All right, we need to increase the number of tea, the amount of tea that we consume as a country as well. And this starts by telling the very stories again and again and again and again and again. So value addition si lazima ikue ulienda ukafungua kampuni. It can start with stories. Stories like the benefits about our tea that ni sisi tu wakulima wa Kenya tunajua. There are things, benefits, mashida inaweza ikatibu, vitu inaweza ikaleta, a lot of stuff concerning tea. that it's only you as the farmer, me as the indigenous person within the country who resides here, who can understand that this is exactly what our tea can offer. And if we can become really fluent and kind of really verbal, all right, we become verbal about what we are doing, how we do it, what our tea can do. That alone can be a significant value addition strategy for our tea. So si lazima ati you as a farmer ukue ati uko na ideas noma zenye ziko outside this world, lazima uende utafute pesa uchukue malone. Money is important because that is the essence of this show, and we'll be bringing you experts from the banks, from the circles, investment firms, a lot. We will be bringing them here to talk to you about tea. How can you access funding? How do you save? How do you invest? What is the best kind of tea to plant? But before we get there, lazima wakulima wetu wakue kwa ile understanding ya this is exactly what goes on with our people, and this is what goes on with our tea, and let's become people who tell the stories around our tea, because kama atupeani stories zetu, then there is nothing that is going to happen. You as a farmer, there are diaries that it's only you who understand. There are things that if only you could tell the world will improve and increase its demand to, when it comes to Kenyan tea. So value addition revolves around a lot, all right? C2 processing is what you know. Packaging is what you know, but it goes beyond, and it goes miles into other things that we can do that are even budget friendly, that are not even as hard as you might think for you to do. So that is number one. Number two could be farmers trying to sell their own tea in a better way. I'm gonna give you a story about this woman. There was this lady back then when I was young, and she would come every Tuesday and every Friday, and every time this woman came, she used to sell tea, all right, processed tea. So it has been dried. It's good tea. It was quite good quality. I remember the tea was really sweet, and I really loved the tea. My mom as well really loved the tea, and she used to praise the tea a lot. And she was selling it at quite a considerable amount, if I would say. If I can think back then, I think she was selling a bigger packet. I cannot truly recall the amount or in grams, the weight, but I can recall it was something close to 250 grams there, or 500 grams. I cannot recall really well. And she would sell this tea for 50 shillings, 100 shillings. And I remember she had packed the tea in transparent papers, okay? So anakuja every day, every Tuesday, every Wednesday, alikuwa tu anatembeanga, and watu walikuwa washamjua, to a point that people were not even buying tea from the shop. People would wait for this lady to come for them to buy tea from her. And I remember thinking that this is really amazing. Back then I was like, this is so amazing, this is so revolutionary for an older woman to think, how do I take this tea to the market? How do I go around selling this tea? And that is the very reason. Kumekuwa na discussions, and we are going to discuss about it, that and given that the bigger number of Kenyans ni Gen Z, siji Gen Z hawakunywi chai. Kuna majenzi wanakunywa chai. Like my director, napenda chai sana. So kuna majenzi wenye hawajaachilia spirit ya chai. Kuna majenzi wenye bado chai is something really critical to them. So, and some of these people, the reason even kwa nini hawatumii hiyo chai is because in the first place, they are not being encouraged to take it. Atuendi kuwauzia. You as the farmer. The other day, as we were having the discussion with Mr. Ronald from Uganda, I remember nikimuuliza, if what is happening continues and the younger generation does not keep on absorbing, all right, we are not getting absorbed to the tea culture, what is the future for our tea in the next 10 years, or in the next 20 years, or in the next 50 years? What is the culture for our tea? Chai yetu inaelekea wapi, if at all we are not getting absorbed as young people, all right? So we need people who are really fluent at telling this story. So it's a good thing that the government is coming up with organizations, corporations, cooperatives, circles, groups and stuff that are really helping people tell the story about tea. But my suggestion would be if we would also get corporations that become really fluent at telling the story. Not only the story of the Kenyan tea as a quality tea, but also the Kenyan tea as a story of origin, as our history, our identity, and the very thing that defines you and I to become who we are. So this is everything these are my contemplations when I'm thinking about tea and value addition and what we need to do. I don't know what are your thoughts, you as a farmer. I don't know what are your thoughts, you as a consumer of this tea. But I would want to encourage you that you get to a point whereby you get to realize that I need to understand this and I need to know exactly what goes on to value addition. Train your children, tell them good stories and tales about what our tea means, what is the culture behind it, and that alone can improve the value for our tea. So that was my contemplation today when it comes to value addition. And I actually took some time to think into it and think, if only the only thing that we do is think value addition in terms of putting in a lot of money or a lot more money, then the whole story about value addition at the subsistence level or at the very low level of that smallholder farmer in Limuru, in Kamba, in Lari, in Kangare, in Moranga, Kareti area, if the only thing that we think about is to talk to them about tea and value addition, but only on the basis of production and processing, then we are lying to our people. Because not every farmer is going to afford the power, the manpower, number one, number two, the machinery, and number three, the technology that is needed for us to be able to grow tea. So I would want to really encourage us. Let's be good storytellers of our own tea. Let's be good supporters of what we do. Let's be the people who tell people about what are the advantages of our tea, what are the advantages of our approach when it comes to the tea business. Now, I would want to give us a short break, and we are coming back after the short break to tackle more on value addition, starting from branding. We've already spoken about messaging and storytelling, but I would want us to go to a short commercial break, then come back. Let's talk about marketing. Let's talk about how do you brand it, because this is everything about tea. This is everything about how do we grow the culture. And not only for the farmers, you as a company, you as a factory will be handling how do we market better. As companies, all right, we have a whole lot of factories, and out of these factories, we have came up with a number of brands that are selling tea. We have Ketepa as one of the Kenyan leading ones. We have Eden, we have Ken Fresh. We have quite a number of tea brands in Kenya. So if you are also a tea brand and you're thinking, how do we market better? How do we get to be known better? How do we ensure that we gain more traction in the market? Please stay tuned. Do not touch the dial. Once again, this is the Agri Finance Hour with Benson Noma. I'll see you after the short commercial break. Remember, keep on sending in the comments, keep on sending in the suggestions and the questions and what you would want us to bring to you soon and in the time to come. I will see you after the short break. Cheers. Looking for powerful, crystal clear sound for your next event? At Chai TV, we've got you covered nationwide. From weddings to church services, corporate events to outdoor concerts, birthdays to rallies, we deliver top-notch sound systems, microphones, mixers, speakers, DJ setups, lighting, and full audio support to make your event unforgettable. Based in Nairobi but serving the entire country, Chai TV is your trusted partner for quality, reliability, and clean sound that moves the crowd. Call or WhatsApp us today on 0799 220 217. Chai TV, let your sound be heard. The future of farming isn't coming, it's already here. Welcome to Shamba Smart Show, where innovation meets the soil. In every episode, we decode smart farming, giving you modern strategies, digital tools, and real solutions to grow better, faster, and smarter. Learn more on how the digital revolution and AI has completely disrupted farming productivity. Stay technologically savvy and ahead of your competitors through the show and through our broadcast every day. I am Benson Numa. Join me on Shamba Smart Show only on Chai TV every weekday from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Let's grow smart, let's grow bold. Shamba Smart, where every innovation meets the excellence. Welcome back. Thank you for still tuning in. Thank you for remaining on the dial for Chai TV. This is Chai TV, and as we embark to our second session, I want to redound on what I said as we were opening our show. And that is, number one, what grows and takes a tea farmer or a person into tea business from one level to the other is the understanding and the knowledge of this is how I manage the business around my farm, and this is how the money within the farm is taken from the farm to my pocket, and from my pocket to grow the farm again, and then from there, and the cycle keeps on turning. The farm gives you money, you get money from the farm, you improve your life, then that money you use it to improve the farm, and then the farm also gives you another a lot of more money, and then it improves you again, and then you improve the farm. That is the cycle that we are trying to encourage. Now, on October this year, 2025, we will be having the International Tea Expo in Meru County. And I want to urge every farmer, every broker, every company, every corporation, every circle, every cooperative that is sure that it's in the tea business and it's involved with tea and farmers and stuff. I want to take this opportunity to extend this invite to you, to welcome you to the International Tea Expo in Meru County, the October of 2025. Dates will be communicated. Please keep on checking on our platforms whereby every detail concerning this matter will be communicated. Now, let's get back to our discussion. So we were discussing the thing to do with the message and telling the story about our brand, letting more people understand brand yetu, our tea brand. This is what it can do. These are the benefits of our tea brand, and this is what we can do. And that is going to do a lot of more stuff when it comes to the brand that we are building and also to the marketing of our own team. But now let me talk to our corporation for a moment, all right? And this goes to them as well, because as we are speaking to the farmers, we also need to talk to the factories and the companies that sell tea across Kenya and export this tea to different countries like Pakistan, Iran, UK, wherever it is that you're taking this tea on the global market. we also need to talk to you. And that is the matter about number one as well, about the story. All right, let's be masters of telling our own story. Could be through documentaries for your company. It could be through sharing your profiles and your stories on your social media, right? It could be through getting someone who is really good with PR and managing the PR for your company so that a lot of more people can get to understand this is exactly what goes on for this company. Because I also feel one of the reasons why some of our people are not in a position yet to embrace tea, and they're not in a position to yet like decide that this is our own thing, this is what we want to do, is because they also lacks stories that showcase and tell that this is what it needs to be done, and this is how it is done, and this is the direction that we are taking, and this is how we get the tea from the farm to the factory, from the factory to the packets or the sachets that you take, and the way that it gets to you at your home. You see, understanding that value chain and that kind of a flow, all right, that delivery of value, the way it moves for the consumers is quite critical, because tea brands are still going to keep on coming, and tea brands are still going to keep on emerging. All right, everyone who knows tea, the benefits of tea, and the lot of business and advantages that are founded in tea, these people at one particular point out of 100 people, maybe one or two are going to think of getting into the business. And the best thing we can do is to tell a story that will lay a platform and a foundation for the next gen to come and enter into the business and enter into the market. All right, and that should be from you, the way that you tell the story. Let's be creative with the way that we do our marketing as well. Let also be creative with the way that we do our branding. Let's do branding that is in line with our people, something that resonates with our people. And this can also increase your sales a lot more. You can double, you can triple your income just by understanding that this is how we tell the story, this is how we communicate to our people, and these are the brands that we bring to our people so that they get to understand that this is exactly what is happening. Number one, let's build brands that resonate with the bigger market. All right, I've been looking at this brand that deals with sodas. I know all of you know the brand, and they're coming up with ideas whereby now they have sodas that you can share with your loved ones. They have their names on them. I'm also looking at a certain beer. I've been seeing their billboards, and they're starting to incorporate a lot of sheng and a lot of kind of what I would call Gen Z kind of vibe. And this is I'm sure the reason as to why they are doing this is because it's skyrocketing their sales and really improving. It's a trend that I'm seeing brands they are jumping on. I've also seen a number of millers, or what we call maize flour companies. They're also jumping into the trend, and I've been seeing them do billboards about things that resonate with the younger generation. Because whether we like it or not, or whether we want to embrace it or not, as a business, you understand that the key thing that you need to focus with is your market, and understanding your market. Who are the people in your market? Having that ideal customer profile, having that ideal description that this is the persona that I'm going to serve in the marketplace, to a greater height, doubles or even triples sometimes can be the entire meaning between a normal brand, a regular brand, to an extraordinary brand that can be embraced within the Kenyan market. And that starts from the way that you package everything. You cannot package something in a boring way and then expect people to love that thing. You cannot package something in a way that kinda gives the vibe of older people and expect the younger people to jump into the ride, or to kind of ride on the wave that you're trying to create in the market. All right, so let's not be complacent. I know that there is a lot of money as well that people are making from exporting the tea at the Mombasa auction, but let also be careful to understand that the local consumers are also key, and we need to be creative each and every time on how we are going to increase the consumption rate of tea within our own people, such that we don't make tea and over 90 or even more sometimes is going outside of our country, and only like 1% or 2% is being consumed locally. We need to encourage that habit. We need to encourage the culture of people taking in tea. So back to the idea that I was saying. Number one, let's understand who are the people that are majority in the market. Who are the younger people? All right, they're the younger people. What are they looking for? Whether in a suit like I am, whether in a jeans, like maybe you are watching me from home, or maybe in a short, that young person, there is something they're looking for. And that is number one, someone who shows them that we really understand you. We really understand what you do. All right. We really understand what you're looking for. That could be from the way that you package. I can give you random ideas. It can be maybe you're putting on emojis on your sachets, you're putting on words on your packaging and stuff. All right. And then even the papers that you package on, you need to start incorporating something that also relates with the young people, with the younger generation, because the moment that I go out there and then I see a tea brand yenye inaongelesha Gen Z, I'm more attracted to it. It starts to create a lot of buzz, not only to me, but also to the other people who are seeing it. Even on social media, people start being like, hey, you know, I saw this, I saw that, and I think that it was really helpful for me as a person. So that is number one key reason that I would want to encourage, that let's be people who portray and give out our brand in a way that really resonates with the bigger and the majority of the audience that you're trying to serve. Okay, then number two, let's be creative as well. We cannot always be doing the same thing again and again. What you were doing 10 years ago, I assure you it's quite obsolete when it comes to Kenya. I know people don't buy tea as often as they buy maybe sugar, or they buy Blue Band or bread or anything else. But I want to tell you that people are consuming tea. People would love to consume tea if at all would become creative at how we encourage and we grow the idea of people getting to consume this tea. All right, so let's come up with innovative solution for our people, innovative solution for the very people that we are trying to serve, especially the younger generation, whereby we can see the culture of tea consumption kind of taking a nosedive, and it's not really good for the market. It's not good for the future. It's not good for the company. Let's start thinking revolutionarily. Let's tell our stories more. Let's encourage consumption more. Let's do better marketing. Now, guys, we are coming to the end of the show as I conclude, and I would want to conclude with this, that the only way that you can add value to tea and consumption of tea locally before we even focus on the global market is by encouraging people to consume more of our tea, is by encouraging people to understand that our tea is quite the heritage that we have, is the identity that defines me and the identity that defines you, is the very thing that takes us from one level to another, is the thing that drives the mind that we carry each and every day. All right, so let's think around tea as a business properly. Let's think about it in a better way, and let's understand that it doesn't come to you with coincidence. All right, it's not a coincidence. It's not a mistake. It's not by accident. It is something that you do intentionally. It is the everyday culture that we start building now that is going to speak to our children in years to come. Right now, it could be my generation that is not taking tea. Tomorrow, it will be my daughter, my son, your daughter, your son, who will not see the benefits of tea, who will not see the benefits that are therein in the consumption of tea, and will be only producing for the outside world, and us as the local market, we will not be providing for it, which is a really big market for you to serve. We have millions of people who would consume your tea, who would consume what you do. So let's become fluent at telling our stories, let's market more, and let's create brands that resonate with the people. Once again, my name is Benson Numa. I was your host. This is the Agri Finance, or what we had dubbed as the Finance Hour with tea farmers, with people in the tea business, allowing you to understand that this is what we do in the field of tea. I want to wish you a really great day. See you later on the other shows, and ensure that you're not changing the dial, because if you're looking for anything, any knowledge about tea, anything that is going to drive your business to the next
JK Class.